I
Okay.
can do it. There we go.
All right. Well, we can begin if we want to get back to our regular screen. You can see I I put everybody down. So Anne Marie to briefly talk about Ryla, which is not much going on there. Then the youth exchange, Interact conference is the big one, and then just basically we're not giving out assignments today. We're just talking about the plan. So and then there was something that David said to me today about a regionalization of our Interact clubs, and it's a national association. And I heard about what's going on in Brazil today. It was pretty entailed, so I'll have Dave talk about that. So let's see who's here. Christine, we can take the agenda off the screen, and we'll go back to our view so we can see everybody. There is Gary.
I'm
Okay,
here.
Anne Marie's not here. I don't know if she's coming, but I can give you a brief summary for Ryla. Once again, it's scheduled for the beginning of June, and not a lot's happening with it right now. We'll eventually get to meet and talk about what's going on and our application process and things like that. It usually happens in the winter, and we have 7 students going out to Wisconsin, and I will be in contact with families later in the fall. So that's what's going on there. And Lyman and Brendan, hi Gary.
Hi, just quick question. You mentioned Ryla. Ryla is always exactly the same day as Relay for Life, which
Yeah, and we're
every high school student participates in. Last couple of years, we've had nobody go to Ryla.
I'll bring that to the committee, but we're at the mercy of Springfield College because they're
Yeah.
the ones who have the program. So, but I'll bring that to Anne Marie when I see her. And in fact, I'll email her after we're done
Yeah.
with this
I
meeting.
mean, we happily pay the $200 a kid to go to Ryla,
Yeah,
but they all sign up for Relay for Life.
yeah, that's fine, and it's a good program, and we certainly understand. Um, and I don't know if in the future we can keep that. And you said it's the first Saturday.
It's always the same day as Ryla.
Yeah. Okay. So
Ronwa has to change its date.
That would help by
yeah.
a week.
So what is the scheduled date? Because
It's always the first Saturday in June.
okay. So
Last year it changed to like it ended up the end of May because that happened to be that Saturday, but it's always the same day as Ryla.
okay, I'm gonna check on that when we get off the phone today.
Yeah.
That was a good suggestion, Gary.
Yeah. It's been a real problem the last 2 years at least, because we've sent as many. I mean, our club send 3 or 4 kids from both our high schools.
Yeah.
Happily, I mean, we pay the money, but the last 2 years we haven't been able to go and send it because they've all said, "Oh, it's Relay for Life. We're not going there."
That's a big
I
discussion
understand
every
that
year
because
because of
thing there.
graduations and all the
How there you
activities.
are. You were looking.
That's a big issue with just scheduling it because it's a busy time of year. So
Yeah.
I will talk to them and see what we can do. Have the committee discuss it. All right. Um, but thanks for that. I wrote,
Gary, which relay are you talking about? Because Relay for Life is in April next year at Springfield.
No, well, no, it's not at, there's the one that usually they run it at each of the high schools. It's always, it's on the track.
Oh, they
It,
run them all on
it's
the
always
same
that
day?
first, it's always that last couple of years, it's been the same Saturday. And you
Okay.
get almost every high school student goes out and does that because they raise lots of money and that even though we will happily pay that, we have the money in our budget to send 3 or 4 kids from each high school.
well, I will
Okay.
let the committee know. I don't know what they can do because it's a Saturday and it's either a
Yeah.
Saturday before or a Saturday after,
All
and
right.
and then it interferes with something. So
Yeah, graduations, all kinds of things.
graduations and end of yeah. So and then we have the international conference and everything, different things that are
Yeah.
happening. It's just a busy time, but I'll mention it to them and let them discuss it.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Um, All right, let's get our youth exchange group to give a report on what's happening, and we'll continue. We want to keep it to an hour too, so we'll continue.
We'll,
And-
we'll keep it real.
I'm not saying I'm not targeting youth exchange. I'm just saying that as we go forward these meetings, we want to respect everybody's time.
Brendan, lead off.
Sure, sure. So this is the peak season for Youth Exchange right now. We've had two students go out, both from the Pittsfield Club. We had Claire went out back on July 28th, and David went out on the 22nd of August.
And-
Unfortunately, did have a return. Claire has returned. She went to Germany, and unfortunately, she had some challenges. She had one of her pet died after 16 years, and she's quite traumatized and insisted on coming home. So, just to make it simple and sweet, we decided to send her back home. It was a little challenging for her host family to kind of overcome her emotions, and it was very, very, very difficult. Her mom agreed, and we got her back home safely. That said, she did have a good time in terms of her experience. She got a couple of weeks touring around Germany with her host family, which seemed to go well. And it was just right at the end where the tragedy of her losing her pet of 16 years. David is doing very well. I got a message from him the other day as well, just 2 days ago. He's in Thailand, loves his family, loves the whole experience. He's just cut out for it. He's doing really, really well. He's been running races. They had a big race in the area where he's in Trot, a town called Trot in Thailand, and he came in second in his race. So he's really excited about that. And he came in second to the #1 gold medal winner in Thailand among youth. So he was really excited about that. He's just gonna do great. He's a great ambassador for our country, and he's having a great experience. So we're excited about that. We have three students that have come in. So we have in the Southington Club, we have Maria or Mary from Italy. She's doing exceptionally well. Her English is quite good. And she's enrolling in classes as we speak today. She had a meeting with the school, and it looks like she may be matriculating as a senior. So we're keeping our fingers crossed, which means she'll be able to graduate, which is kind of a nice thing to have happen. An exchange student that graduates with us. Usually they come in and they return back to their countries to finish their schooling. We have Honora, who's in the Bristol Club.
Which high school is Italy coming from?
Southington High School. Southington High School. Southington. Yep.
Oh, Stonington.
Southington.
Oh,
Southington. Yep.
Okay.
Ran out the area club.
This is with my new hearing aids too.
That's no worries. We have Honora is doing well. She's in our Bristol Club, and she's amazing. She's been here a little over a week, and she's enrolled in the high school. She starts school tomorrow, so she's very excited about that. And then we have Grace, who's from Thailand. She's in our Glastonbury Club, and she's also doing quite well. Grace and Honora, Honora's from France, by the way. Grace, as I mentioned, is from Thailand. Their English is a little rusty. Let's put it that way. They're still learning, but they're great kids, and they're using technology to help them in written communication. But they're trying to speak our language as much as they can. They're great ambassadors for their country, and we're really excited to have them. We had a meeting today. Lyman, I'll let you talk about that in the Farmington Club, where we introduced them, and they got to meet one of our road techs. Lyman, you want to talk about that? I'll step
Sure.
off. Go ahead.
A couple of things we welcomed them and their club officers, whether it was a YEO or a counselor, at an official welcome lunch today at the Farmington Club. We'll follow that up with a picnic on Saturday, which April, I'm hoping that you plan to attend, and we've got you on the list. And we had a really good reception today. It went very well. I think all three kids are going to do very well. we met them at the airport and had it welcoming and so on. So that's where we stand. I don't know what else you want me to add, Brendan.
That's fine. And coming up for them, we have a few things happening. We have, besides the picnics that we talked about, we're going to have their official orientation on September 20th. And we're doing that. It's going to be a multi-district. So we're working with 4 other districts. We're going to meet at Mystic Seaport, which is going to be awesome time. We're going to take the day on Saturday the 20th. We reserved a room there, kept the costs down, and they're going to be with probably another dozen or so other students, as well as Rotex students who are in youth exchange in the past, and counselors from the various districts, where we go over some of the rules about youth exchange, some of the things they can expect. We talk about sorry, I'm getting a message here. Well, we talk about other things about how their families will be. We talk about future trips that we're looking at. So we do a ski trip each year up in New Hampshire or Vermont. We do a trip to New York, which we talked about. We're working on possibly a basketball game, UConn women's basketball game. Well, that's all being sorted out as we speak. So exciting time for these students. We have lots of fun things for them to do. But more importantly, we've asked each of those students to go back to their schools. They're the ambassadors for youth exchange, and to promote youth exchange to the student body, whether it be through their interact clubs or just in general. And we want them to find students from the United States who want to go out next year. That's where we stand.
Awesome.
A couple of quick stories. One is that when the inbound students go through an orientation meeting with a lot of other inbound students, and the same thing happens in the spring, where the American students that are going out meet with the foreign students that are currently in the country and are just finishing up their exchange, so that they can exchange experiences with the people who have been here for a year and the people who are about to experience their next year. And one of the ironies is that actually took place in Italy, and we had a student in Italy who actually trained the Italian girl who was here today, and he is a member of the Farmington Club. So he was sponsored with Farmington Club. So it was nice for these two people who got a chance to meet each other back in Italy to actually meet again here today. That was kind of a nice experience. A couple of other one-liners. The boy who is currently in Thailand, as you know, there has been a recent war, if you will, between Cambodia and Thailand, and the place where he is about 250 miles south. He's near the border, but he's about 250 miles south of where the skirmish is, and the organization in Thailand is keeping a very close eye on. If there's any question, he'll be evacuated to Bangkok, and obviously, if things get really bad, we'll bring it back home. One final thing, as you know, the visas were closed, and there was like 12 students in Medford, Oregon, who could not go out because the countries they were going to had been refused visas to come to this country. That they were closed. And one day we got an email from the girl from Thailand saying, "I just got my appointment with the American Embassy in Thailand." And immediately I let Eastern States Exchange Organization know. They emailed everybody in the United States. And before you knew it, this one girl in Thailand had turned on all 200 and 300 students that were coming to the United States. So those are kind of the fun stories, but it has been a frantic, busy summer just trying to stay on top of all of the different issues. And we're just keeping our fingers crossed now that they're going to be able to actually stay for the whole year.
Well, you should be commended for making that call and making a difference for these exchange students, especially with everything going on. So
it's really crazy.
Thanks for your Rotary service.
Thank you.
I want
Thank you.
everybody to know that David's been coming to our Rotary meetings regularly, and he's extremely happy. And it's been great for our club and certainly for the program.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brendan, where did Nora, which country did Nora come from?
Nora, her name is Enora, and she's
Oh,
coming
Enora.
from France. Yep.
She's from
She's
Oh,
from
she's
Lille.
France.
She's from Lezens, which is a suburb of Lille in the upper right-hand corner of France, just below Dunkirk,
Okay,
right
Brendan,
near the Belgian border.
I want to thank you both for updating this. I'm so excited about the International Youth Exchange Program, making it in a time when it's very difficult. So
It's interesting.
congratulations to all your hard work, and let's
Thank you,
keep that
Dale.
program going. I remember when I was involved, apparently every exchange student impacts the lives of 1,200 people. Their stories, what they share. And so even though the numbers seem small, the impact is really huge. And boy, do we need some cross-border cultivation right now for sure.
Yeah,
One thing that
we
came
can
up,
make it for the whole year.
yeah, one thing that came up, Brendan, is as you were talking, and I just want to thank you again for your enthusiasm and your service, is that for the Interact conference, we're thinking of inviting the Worcester district, the Southern 7980, which is the Southern district, and 7950, which is the Cape Cod and Rhode Island. And I at the same time, it didn't even occur to me until I was listening to you. We should ask for their exchange students to come in and share, just like
Absolutely.
yours,
Yeah.
and they could all get together at the Interact conference.
Brendan and
Yeah.
I are probably the two you should be asking, because we can take it from there if you want to have them. It'll go through Brendan and myself to make sure that they're invited.
Oh, that'd be great. If you have the contacts, that sure saves a lot of work.
We meet regularly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the presentations that the exchange students made at the Interact conference in April were, I would say, one of the highlights of the day.
And there's
Thank
no
you.
question about that, Gary. I think the way they really made the program feel international, and I can't think of a better way to do that. Now one of the I don't know if I'm ahead of the agenda here, Vin.
I was going to bring you in, and basically what I would like to know is what you've done so far and what your plans are, and then I'd like to briefly just talk a little bit about the suggestion that I made earlier, see if that's okay and you can run with that.
Right. I'll start with a discussion of the international Interact group. And I've been to those meetings before a few years ago. I'm not sure I'm still on their email list, so I emailed the guy to make sure that I hear about it. What they did is they have this Brazilian. It's a national organization that brings information to all the Interact clubs in the entire country. And it was interesting. I guess there's a difference between the North and the South in Brazil. They set up an organization. The Interact kids have a major leadership role in this. And it's each Rotary district has, an Interact district representative, which is something that we need as well. We've had it in the past, and it was really useful in the last conference we did in 2018. So that's something we got to keep an eye out for as a good representative. And we're not quite at that point. This is they've got all kinds of subcommittees dealing with with this thing. I don't know. I can forward that video. It's worth listening to, so I don't have to spend much time on it today to everyone in the group, and with the link. If we can link in those three other districts, we're at the beginning of formulating one of these larger Interact organizations, because there's so much to share. Now the other thing that occurred to me, and I ran it by our district governor April, who's on the thing right now, that wouldn't it be nice if we made a $1,000 grant available to any district, only one per district, as long as they send an Interact club. They could do one of our service grants, and I can either use we've used Gary's 501c3 before. And we also have the district 501c3. As long as it's okay with Prasad, would use the district one. And the idea of this would be segregated from the other money that's sitting there for our Interact clubs. And so that what would happen is, we would let each district, they could submit the same application. Everything's the same. It's just that they would have an Interact club that would conceive and implement a service project, and then we would simply send the check to the sponsoring Rotary Club for disbursement. And I think it's a good way of drawing them in. Let's offer them a little prize, one per district. And it also gives them the idea that, wait, maybe we can use Rotary money to fund Interact projects, which is totally different. Now, then it occurred to me,
one quick thought, and that is that rather than awarding it to a Rotary club, if you award it to the charity of the Rotary Club's choice. In other words, this particular Rotary Club has won this award, and they can designate a nonprofit.
Yeah, one of the things we do, and I appreciate that comment, is we don't allow third-party checks. So what happens is the Interact clubs have to learn how to do service projects.
Okay.
And that means it's the Interact club that conceives the project and implements it. And they put together the budget that they need in order to do that project. Where we use the Rotary clubs, Lyman, is really, to just make sure the money is properly expended.
April, you had something you wanted to say?
No, I just wanted to ask, so would these funds, Dave, just so I can make sure it happens correctly. So would these funds be coming from our existing 501c3 or would they have come from the district?
Well, what will happen is I'm going to make a contribution to either the 501c3 at the district or to Gary Miller's 501c3 for that process.
Love it. Well, thank you for your generosity.
Yeah, so you don't have to worry about district money.
I just have to, as former district treasurer, my wheels start spinning,
Right. Now, what may happen is maybe we don't get a representative from one of these districts, so, and we also have to cover the cost. Last year, I think we brought it in, Gary, didn't we, for like $1,200,
pretty much.
And I'm thinking to really kick this thing off, we should try to do the same thing and not charge anybody. I don't know if you're going to be able to do that when I'm dead and gone, but maybe in the interim, we can that might encourage people to come.
David, are you planning on implementing this for November 8th?
Yes.
Okay, so do we want to get to the more immediate?
Yeah, the more immediate stuff is, number one, we're going to need a registration link. What I wanted from the group today was, if we're okay with not charging anything, that makes the registration process a whole lot easier because we're not having to deal with money. Okay, and that would apply also to the advisors and for kids that just don't have a lot of money and they don't want to speak to their parents about funding this thing. They're more likely to come. So I think it would help attendance. We want a really good number. One thing.
So David, David.
Yeah.
Like I'm your mom, Dave. We can pull some.
You are my district governor, April.
No, I'm just your friend.
That's close to mom.
No, just your friend. So Christina had offered to put up registration, but of course we need information from the group in order to do so. We can pull some of the information from last year, but with the new registration platform, we can gather more information.
Oh, good.
So if there are waivers that you need signed or anything like that, we can automatically send those out with the registration confirmation.
Yes.
So if you could
what
send
we
that.
used to do, April, is I had a waiver that there would be pictures taken, and we asked for
Right,
parent permission to take those pictures.
right,
As a matter of fact, we never really shared many of those pictures as it turned out,
right.
but that might be one.
Okay.
I guess just a simple permission slip. I'm not an attorney, but
Well, we
I give
can,
permission to my, that has everything on it. Like
there is, there are a couple sample ones at Rotary International, so I can pull those from you.
that would be nice
for
if you
you.
would do that.
And I'll run them by you. How about that?
I really appreciate that a whole lot.
No
I mean,
problem.
one thing I have to do is, put together another invite. Let me just ask the group, because I had for your input. Last time, I think we wanted it from about 9 to 3, with registration starting between 8 and 9, 9 o'clock. Registration and breakfast 8 to 9. That way, for the people that are coming from a distance, they can still get there. Is 9 to 3 a good time slot for this on a Saturday? I think so, right?
It's a
If
good
you're,
time
if you're
for
wanting
the
to get
use of the
international
school
students
facility.
from other districts, you're going to have to start a little later.
Yeah. Well, what happens is there's a bit of a network for those that get there earlier. There's a bit of a networking that goes on. What do you mean later? 9:30?
Brendan, you want to pitch in here? Do you think, for
Yeah,
example,
Brendan, you would
Worcester?
know.
They're coming from Worcester. They might be coming from Martha's Vineyard.
Yeah, if you're gonna, I think you have to hone in on where you want these kids to come from. If you want to, for example, our event, which we're having in Mystic, we're starting at 10 a.m.
Wow.
But we're going
Okay.
till 5, so that's, I guess, a different window of time.
Can we do
but
10 to 4? Would that be okay, or is that too late?
That's gonna be okay. I think
That's
you're,
much better.
yeah,
Okay,
I think
10
10
to
to 4 is
4.
probably fine. With the idea that, as we get to that last hour, we'll see where we are, and just kind of, if it slows down, then you're done. And if people are excited, then that's even better.
Yeah, I
okay.
have to check. I am having my Avon High School was where we had it in April. We're going to have it in the same place again in November. I'm reconfirming that nothing's changed since when, we picked that date. I mean, I work with my 2 advisors because my goal is to have
Yep.
our 2 road Interact clubs come, because they were none of them were available on such short notice in April. So we specifically picked the 8th of November because at least back in May or June, when I said, what's a good fall date? Both advisors said 8th of November. Sports haven't started yet. So there's not a lot of conflicts for the students. It's early enough.
That works okay for us.
to do it.
Just
But
think that our students have to come from Poughkeepsie and from Providence.
Yeah.
and
If you
from
go
Martha's
too
Vineyard.
late, I have the school may have a problem. Last year
Long Island.
in April, we had a custodian that happened to be the head custodian. He was the one that was there. He took care of everything for us. So, we have to be a little careful of, how early a paid custodian's going to have to come in and how long they're going to have to stay,
Yeah.
because you can run into overtime issues. He
Well,
was very accommodating, and I'm not sure. So we have to kind of think about that.
Yeah.
And if my thought is that school is convenient, but at some point we start to draw in larger numbers, and our location in Canton and Avon isn't terribly convenient for anybody coming north
Yeah,
from
and even
Massachusetts
Pittsfield are way away.
or east. So
Oh.
at some point we're going to have to pick a bigger, more centralized location. So at this time, I think we're good for April. I don't want to too long a day just creates problems in a
Yeah.
school.
Okay, if I could just
Let me
Make
just
a couple
ask,
of
is 10 to 4? It sounds like 10 to 4 because I've got to get this stuff out to her. Is that
David,
okay, everybody?
I think 4 might be too late myself.
if I can make an observation, I
Yeah.
think we want to avoid anything, but your committee is autonomous. So your committee can make decisions. We gave some input today, but it's very important that you guys make the decisions that work for you. Even from Pittsfield, 9 o'clock is, early for our kids. But what I want to say is on the registration form, all I would ask is you consider, if your committee wants to do this, is asking each club to be ready to present a fundraiser, a service project, and an icebreaker. And those are for them running the event. And then from there, I think we need to network our Interact club so that they can communicate, and maybe that ends another meeting, but maybe they can get a Zoom meeting where they're going to be talking about the future. So if you could include that in the registration form, that would be the only, if you agree with that, that would be the only thing I'd want to be clearly stated for them, that, if you register to bring those 3 items, and then you're going to they'll have a chance to bring them to the group, not just report on what they've done because it's early in the year. So they're not going to have the information that they've had in the spring. They've done things. So
Right.
this will be a chance for them to jumpstart their organization also and get the support. And other clubs might want to join some good project.
I think that's a great idea. Everybody comes in with an icebreaker idea. Service projects, number 2, and then the third one would be what?
Fundraiser.
Oh, a fundraiser. Okay.
So in other words, there's no definite, you got to take but somebody might come up with a good idea from a fundraiser that some other club's doing.
Right.
And then they're actually more involved. We're not, and we try to get them involved because ultimately, whether it's Ryla or anything else, we want the young people to get involved with it. Who knows where it'll go from there? But just make that clear.
I'm just sorry about that, Ben. I apologize.
Yeah.
Can I just make a quick comment? And because I don't necessarily have a lot of input on this, but I want to let you know some of the comments that I received from last year. And especially if we are in fact actually going to let the youth plan it. I know we say that, but sometimes our own our excitedness and being Rotarians and all that takes over a little bit, right? And the kids are not really getting the experience that we've told them they're getting, or that they're going to ask, or that they're expecting. So one of them I heard was they didn't understand why those old men were up there singing. That one comment, right? I don't know why those old men were up there singing. That's all I'm saying. That was I overheard youth saying and giggling about it. It's a very different time now. And these kids are growing up in a very different time, but whatever. Secondly, what I overheard a group saying is every time that the kids or youth started really talking and getting into something, they were interrupted by an adult. Whether it was, how's it going? Is everything okay? Whatever. They said they were, every single time they started to get into something they felt was really valuable, they were interrupted by an adult. So,
Wow.
Those are things I heard. I'm just saying it. That's what I heard from the kids. And it's something really to think about as we're planning. And if we are actually giving them the lead, we need to put all of us, I'm guilty of this too, our egos aside and say, yes, this is their conference. We will provide all the guidance, whatever. Saying you bring an icebreaker is not telling them what the icebreaker is, right? They can come up with it, that sort of thing. But just be aware that we want to give them the experience that they're expecting or that they're looking for, because that's how we make sure that they talk up Interact. And as these kids graduate, other kids want to become involved. So anyway, that's only my 2 cents, and I won't say any more, but I'm happy to offer whatever input. This recording of this meeting will go out to everybody who's here. So you'll get the video, everything.
That's an excellent suggestion, and it's good for us to be aware of that when we walk in there, because we all are excited and enthusiastic, and we have to remember that this is their event, and I think that they'll get excited. I mean, if an Interact club comes in with an icebreaker and we have 10 Interact clubs, we could have 10 different icebreakers getting the people going, and fundraisers, service projects. and they can discuss it and they can ask questions. And yes, we're facilitators. We're running the facility, and basically I think it's good for us to keep that in our minds. And I agree with you, Christine. We all have to be aware of that when we're working with young people.
Yeah, I think those are all
Okay,
great.
can I say something?
Sure.
Yes, Pam.
We have a problem in my area with trying to get kids there because their parents aren't going to drive them there. We tried to do the bus thing and that didn't work. Is there some way that we do it more central area than up in Avon?
Yeah.
You know, transportation is very interesting. I mean, it's almost like, I remember when we did the trip with all the Interact kids to the UN during Rotary Day. We rented a bus and it worked really well. But we're dealing with everything from, the Pittsfield area to, around Springfield to all over Connecticut. I don't know if we should spring for, a van of some kind or a bus that might pick up kids. And if we start at 10, as we're talking about right now, that it gives the driver time to get everywhere where he has to pick people up.
Well,
Yeah,
I have three Interact clubs in my area, and I don't think any of them went because of the distance. And it's on a Saturday, so it was really even more difficult.
They get to Ryla though, Pam. I don't, then maybe it's not in the whole Interact club, and I understand if there's that many kids going, it's a difficulty. But the districts, it just, I don't think it would work unless the community has a van that could take them, liability and everything. And then we're all over the place. How we get students there from everywhere.
I'm just saying, is there a more central place to do it rather than so far away in Avon?
Well, the only thing is that Avon is provided the facility at no charge. I don't know if there's any other place that would be, and I don't know the dynamics. I was all over the district. I don't know the difference between Avon and Middlefield. I just went, and it was an hour and a half every time I went somewhere. So
yeah, what are the three Interact clubs in your area, Pam?
Summers, Suffield, and
Windsor.
Windsor, my own club.
Okay, yeah, I know that one. So Summers, Suffield, and I did chat with the lady, from, I think it was Summers.
Suffield.
Yeah, Suffield.
Yeah, she was
rather negative about the distance involved
because the parents weren't going to bring them, and she could not get a bus to take them.
Yeah.
Pam,
I'm sorry,
to
because we had about 2 weeks to put this thing together.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, there's got to be a transportation service.
One at a time, folks. One at a time.
We can hire.
Brendan, you had your hand up.
We had people coming even farther, Pam, and they no complaints. So I think it's just all relative. It's whatever their situation is. We had New Britain, we had Kensington, we had Southington. I mean, they were even farther
last year
away.
we had Northampton.
Yeah. So we had people even further that came. So you're actually closer than your area is closer than all the other ones. But it's relative, and I get that. I'm not trying to not trying to say that it's every family has their challenges, and I respect that. But whether you have it in their own hometown, and then it's not fair for the rest. Our district's pretty good size, so we're not going to make everybody happy. We just have to try our best.
Well, I
So
know.
did most of the parents bring them?
No, it wasn't. Some were parents, some were people from the clubs. So the clubs stepped up and drove some of their students in. They had the advisors from the Interact clubs. They came and they brought a few kids as well. So, and yes, there were some parents, but there were, a lot of it was other Rotarians that helped out. So just what I observed. What do you guys see the same thing?
Pittsfield hasn't had anybody go either. And the only reason anybody goes to Ryla is because I get a van and take the kids from the girls club gives us a van and I can take them. And we've been doing that for years. But,
Yeah.
it's really going to have to be up to the community if they want to send their kids,
Right.
And as I said, we wouldn't get anybody from Pittsfield to our Interact conference. And
Well,
I may have
if
to
you
look.
had a van picking them up, do you think that would change it?
I would have to get a van. Last year was kind of a short notice, but I would have to reserve the van. I'm sure I can get the Girls Incorporated van on a Saturday to go to the conference if we could
Yeah,
get.
and it might be you could pick up Summers, Suffield, and Windsor on your way to the
I don't
conference.
think so. No,
I don't think the van's that big.
Probably
No.
too many in a van.
No,
Yeah.
I could not do that. I wouldn't be, because, being responsible for a van, and traveling all over, it wouldn't work because.
And other kids.
I organized school transportation for 23 years. So it's a nightmare.
Challenge. Right.
Yeah, but Vin is a good example because he gets the van for his area. And I think whoever said it that, the clubs are doing some of the transportation. If your club is sponsoring an Interact
Yeah.
group, then perhaps your club is, can talk to the YMCA, talk to a Boys and Girls Club or Girls Inc. or something like that, and work out transportation. This year, if you have much more time than we had or you had last year.
Yeah. Yeah,
Definitely a
most of
challenge.
the comments from April were, this to try fall as a better time of the year. And so given that we didn't, again, not a lot of time to plan and a lot of input, early November seemed like a good time. I mean, I think ideally finding a more central location at probably, unfortunately, a hotel or someplace that can accommodate a lot of people where food and the things like that are available. And if somebody has to stay, it could be. And, I had a thought because if you pull in surrounding districts, you almost need a spring and a fall conference so that one is in one regional area and the other one is in another regional area. And if people are able to travel, that's two opportunities to get together. And if not, at least maybe they could go to one. But I think, I mean, I'd happily relinquish another location. It's just that, I'm very short notice. I said yes to having it in either Avon or Canton and thought we ought to try and set up something to get the ball rolling for the fall and try fall, and it was convenient to say, let's do it in the same place. That was a good place for the size group we had.
And it's really with clubs, even if you have 5 clubs in your area, Pam, each club will have to, if you want to send, they'll have to make arrangements for the kids. So it's a challenge. And as I said before, not every club has the ability to do that. And like I said, the parents may not be able to do it also.
Right.
I don't.
And to be really careful with parents transporting students. There's a huge liability issue there.
Yeah, for their own personal, right. And the fact is that we can't use a hotel because it's too prohibitive.
Yeah.
Cost wise, it would be just too prohibitive. We have $2,000 in the budget, and if we're going to have, if we go with a hotel, there's no way it can be free for the kids, and we want to make it free.
Right.
But once again, you have input. Even last year with Charlie's group, none of his kids could go either, but your generosity is got to be appreciated because really we want to come up with any other alternatives. And once again, I don't know what the central location of the district is. Probably is Windsor, but it's still everything's out of Massachusetts. So you got Greenfield, and then if we're going to have youth exchange, coming from a lot of different areas. So I don't know what the solution is, but I'll let your committee go with it. If anybody has any information that they want to share or communicate with Dave or Gary, please feel free to keep that discussion going.
You know, I'll commit to doing an invitation. You know, I appreciate April's going to give me a sample parental permission slip. We need to set up a registration, and I know Christine is great at that, a registration for the Interact conference. I was just wondering, Christine, if there's anything else you need from me for the registration. I guess the time, if you have the invitation, that should give you everything you need, I would think, right?
So I need to get it in a Word document, not as a PDF. I
Yeah.
need to know every bit of information that you
Mhm.
want to have, and that includes
Okay.
food allergies. Do they require any special accommodations? I
Mhm.
want the exact date, time, and place, and what you're providing. Because last year I know you had like bagels and coffee or something in the morning, and then you provided a lunch. I'm guessing if you start at 10, it will just be lunch. Um,
Yeah.
Well,
so
they've got to have some snacks when they come in, I would think, you know,
Yeah.
but
well, I can just put snacks, but you're not going to provide any breakfast. So if they're going to have a travel, an
Mm.
hour travel, they need to have breakfast before they head out. So I will, before I produce anything, I will send a proof for you to look at. I know you also want to know what club they're from, right? You want to know what
Yes.
club they're from and
Hmm.
any other information you need to know from them. I know last year, after we launched it, we discovered that there was no contact information for each of the kids, no email or whatever. I forget what it is you wanted.
Yeah.
So send me whatever I want a list of whatever you need to know, and then I
Yep.
need all the information that you
Right.
have that I can provide them.
Yep. I think we'll say something like, what's the name of your Interact club? And
Just send me the list, Dave. Just send me the
yeah, the
list.
name of your
Okay.
advisor.
Yeah, just
And
send me the list. Okay.
yeah.
And
So
I'll put it together and I'll send a proof out to the committee before it gets launched. So you'll all get to
okay.
review it before anything happens.
That sounds good. I'll do that this week. I got a couple vacations coming up for the starting in the weekend, so I'm really gonna focus on getting as much of this out to you as I can. You can still reach me though, but and I'll put it in a Word document for you. So
Yeah.
just make a Word.
I mean, November 8th isn't that far away. I mean,
No,
my meeting prior to this one was our club's annual golf tournament, which is the 8th of September.
September.
And
Okay.
I'm majorly involved in that. So, I mean,
But
so
you don't
once
have anything
October,
on
I'll have
October
a
on
month.
November 8th, right? I mean, you're free on November 8th, I
Yeah,
hope.
so I'll have 2 months from after September 8th. There's 2 months to put
Well,
this thing together.
the good thing is if the kids respond with what we've asked them to bring,
Yeah,
I'll volunteer to set the agenda for the day,
yeah, that was
if you'd like,
yeah,
and we can get them and have someone introduce the students. It would be ideal if we get a leader from one of the Interact clubs, preferably maybe from one of your clubs, to be the MC for the day. That way we can tell them what we'd like to put on the agenda and they can actually do all of the talking, if
Yeah.
that's okay. So why don't you guys talk about that and let me know. And other than that, once we get the commitment from the students, we'll set up an agenda. And I love the bagels. So they
yeah. I
were,
think for the most part, schools all start this week or next. So, I mean, I've already put a bunch of things on the plate of our two advisors of things that we're working on locally and also the conference. So,
Right.
yeah. And like I said, we have an advisors breakout, Dave. You can think about how you want to run that.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what, Joanne, I thought did a pretty good job, Alfieri last year,
Yeah.
sharing that, and we've already got the list of the 50 questions that need to be asked, and you don't get through all of them. So
I think what we have to be careful of is telling the students we want them to run it and then saying how we want them to run it.
right.
So, let's see if we can get an MC from the local club. They can be the host, and then we'll just provide the agenda and say, look, is what we want you to do, so they feel comfortable, and then they
Yep.
can introduce the clubs, introduce the service projects, the icebreakers, and possibly have a discussion about fundraisers.
Yep. You know, if you can do, lay out an agenda on Word and get it out to us, that would be great. You have the agenda from last year, right? You could look at that as a sample, or do you want me to send one to you?
Why don't you send it to me and then I'll work on it and I'll send it back
Okay.
to you. And
Okay, that sounds good.
I can do that. That's an easy task, and I'll be glad to take that off your plate.
Okay.
Okay.
And
Anyone
great-
else have anything they'd like to talk about?
Well, I'd just like to personally thank Gary Miller for his outstanding contribution to the conference last year. He's one of these Rotarians that just says yes, and
That's my problem.
it was a pleasure working with you, Gary.
Brendan, you had something you wanted to say? Thank you, Gary.
Yeah, you guys wanted a photo release form. I just sent a sample. Christine, I sent one to you. April, I sent it to you. And Dave, I sent one to you. It's just a
Okay.
sample that we use in Youth Exchange, but if you want to borrow it and fix it up, whatever way you want to do it. So
Okay, that's
Yeah.
great.
All of
I'll
our
get
Thank
working
you.
on
have
it.
photo release permissions as part of their application package.
Okay. Well, I want to thank everybody for your dedication to our youth programs. Our next meeting will be on September 23rd. I don't know if that interferes with the Jewish holidays. I'm not sure if it does or not.
Well, I'll be unavailable, but you guys continue to keep up the good work.
Yeah, we want to keep it on the Tuesday. And what I will do is we'll have the recording, and I will give an update to the general executive meeting that we have with foundation and all those. You won't have to attend another meeting. But thank you very much for everything.
Do what I can.
I am
Thank you.
inspired by everything that you do, and we'll work out the kinks. And
Yeah. And so that next meeting is 9/23 at 7 p.m.
yes.
Right.
I'll be back from Winnipeg, Vince, so I'll send out the link to everyone and I can be available at least to record, okay?
Great.
Excellent.
Christine.
And I do appreciate April and Christine. I was saying to them that I'm old enough to be their father, and they've treated me like their father. They've always looked out for me. So I appreciate that. Okay.
Okay.
Billy.
Everybody, take care. Thank you again.
All right.
Always
Have a
a-
good evening.
always a
Thank you,
pleasure,
everyone.
everybody.
Night.
thank you.
Thanks, my friend.